My wife handed me divorce papers. Well, not exactly her. I was told to move out. I simply replied, "All right." Then I locked him out of our accounts and took back the house keys. Within 2 days, his lawyer was on my doorstep. I'm a 29-year-old man, and just last Tuesday, I was blindsided by divorce documents from my wife of 4 years, Brianna, 27. But here's the real kicker. It wasn't her who gave them to me. No, it was her new boyfriend, Derek, 31, who showed up at my front door like he belonged there. Standing on my porch with that smug look, he said, "Brianna wants you out by Friday. Find another place to stay." I stood there holding the paperwork, staring at the guy who's clearly been sleeping with my wife, God knows for how long, and all I said was, "All right." He clearly didn't expect that response. Maybe he thought I'd beg, cry, swing at him. But instead, I calmly shut the door in his face and got to work. First, I called my lawyer. Then, I contacted the bank. Here's what Brianna and Derek had no clue about. The house? It's mine. Solely in my name. I bought it 2 years before we even got married, using money I inherited from my grandfather. Brianna's name never made it onto the deed. We weren't married yet when I bought it, and I never bothered to add her afterward. And Derek? That guy had been crashing at my place for the past month while I was away on a business trip. Brianna told me he was going through some rough personal stuff and needed a temporary place to stay. Yeah, right. So now, the same guy who was supposed to be sleeping on my couch temporarily was trying to kick me out of my own house? So he could move in permanently with my wife, who's now filing for divorce. Big mistake. By Wednesday morning, every lock in the house was replaced. That afternoon, I revoked his access to all our shared accounts, Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime. Turns out the guy had been freeloading off my subscriptions. But it didn't stop there. Derek had also been using my gym membership, the $89 monthly family plan. That got canceled too. Then came Thursday evening. Derek was back at the door, pounding like he owned the place. "What the hell, man? Why are the locks changed?" I spoke through the door. "Because this is my home. Brianna can come get her things. But you need to go find a new place. She's my girlfriend now. We're together." "Congrats," I said. "Go be together somewhere else." He didn't take that well. What followed was a full-on tantrum. He yelled about how I was being childish, how they both had legal rights, how I couldn't just throw them out. Meanwhile, I was inside recording everything with my phone. Later, I texted Brianna, "You have 48 hours to collect your stuff. Derek isn't welcome here." Her reply, "You can't do this. Derek lives here now." My reply, "Check the deed." He doesn't. That was yesterday. Today's update? Let's just say, you guys weren't kidding when you said attorneys move fast when they smell a potential payday. At 9 a.m. sharp, Derek's lawyer showed up at my door. Middle-aged guy in a wrinkled suit, carrying a briefcase that looked like it had survived several wars. "Mr. Wilson," he said, "I represent Derek Patterson. We need to address your unlawful eviction of my client." I let him inside, mostly for the entertainment value. "Your client?" I said. "He was never a tenant. He's a guest who's worn out his welcome." The lawyer shot back, "Mr. Patterson has been residing here for over 30 days. Under state law, that constitutes tenancy." So I pulled out my phone and showed him the video from Thursday night. Derek screaming through the door, calling himself my wife's boyfriend and demanding to be let in. No lease, no rent, no utility payments. No rights, I told him. End of discussion. As Derek shouted about how he and Brianna were soulmates and meant to be, the lawyer beside him turned pale. His confidence drained in real time. "And here," I continued calmly, "is the property title with my name as the sole owner. And here's security footage from yesterday, your client trying to break into my house after I revoked his access. The lawyer scribbled on his notepad, but his face said it all. He was already planning how fast he could retreat. He cleared his throat. Mr. Patterson would like to collect his personal effects. Already boxed them up, I replied. Everything's waiting on the front porch. He tried again. And what about any financial contributions he's made while staying here? I couldn't help but laugh. What contributions? He's been mooching off me for a month. I've got bank records showing he hasn't paid a dime for rent, groceries, utilities, nothing. Not even a pizza. Once the lawyer left, Brianna called in a fury. You can't just throw Derek out. He has nowhere to stay. Not my concern anymore. He's been helping with the bills. Really? Then show me one transaction, one bank transfer, one shred of evidence that he's contributed anything to this house. Silence. That's what I thought. You're just being spiteful. No, I'm being rational. You wanted a divorce. Fine. But you don't get to evict me from my own house and install your boyfriend like it's an Airbnb. She hung up on me. 2 hours later, Derek arrived with a U-Haul. I watched from the window as he packed up his Xbox, clothes, and a few furniture pieces, some of which weren't even his. Just in case, I called the police. The officer who showed up was an older guy with the kind of expression that said, "I've seen this movie too many times." "Sir," he asked me, "is that your furniture he's trying to take?" "The gaming chair and coffee table are mine. The rest is his." Derek began arguing, claiming he had the right to take shared property since he had been living there. The cop just looked at him like he was an idiot. "Do you have any paperwork that proves you're a legal tenant or part owner of the home?" Derek mumbled, "Well, no." "Then you're trespassing. Gather what's yours and leave." He had to drag my stuff out of the truck and onto the lawn, in front of the entire neighborhood. I couldn't lie. Watching him wilt under public humiliation was almost satisfying. But deep down, I knew this wasn't the final chapter. Update 2. Turns out I was right. These two aren't just selfish, they're completely unhinged. After Derek took his junk and drove off to wherever, I figured that was the last of it. Wrong again. Yesterday, I came home from work to find the garage door wide open and Brianna's car parked in the driveway. She must have used the old remote to get in. When I walked inside, she was in the kitchen cooking like it was just another Tuesday. "What the hell are you doing here?" "I live here too," she said, nonchalantly. "And I was hungry." "You served me divorce papers. You don't live here anymore. The divorce isn't finalized. Until then, this is still my home." I called my attorney immediately. And technically, annoyingly, she wasn't wrong. As long as the divorce isn't finalized, she still has partial marital rights to the property. But she can't move Derek in again. "Where's your boyfriend?" I asked. "He's at a friend's place until we sort things out." "Good. Because he's not setting foot in here again." Later that night, I overheard her whispering to Derek on the phone, "Just give me a few more days to soften him up. He'll give in." Like hell, I will. Next morning, I wake up and discover my laptop is gone. So is my iPad. And my watch. They were all sitting on my nightstand the night before. I text Brianna. Me, "Where's my stuff?" Her, "What stuff?" Me, "Laptop, iPad, watch. They were beside my bed last night." Her, "I have no idea what you're talking about." I reviewed the security footage. The indoor cameras had been disconnected, but the exterior ones were still rolling. Clear as day, there she was at 6 a.m., loading my electronics into her car. I called the police again and filed a theft report. And wouldn't you know it, the same officer from the U-Haul incident arrived. You two again, he said, sighing. I showed him the footage. Brianna tried to claim the items were shared marital property, and she had a right to them. The officer reviewed my receipts. Ma'am, all of these were purchased before your marriage. This qualifies as theft. She had no choice but to return everything, but the glare she gave me made it clear this battle was far from over. That evening, Derek showed up again. Dude, seriously. You need to relax. Your girlfriend just robbed me. She's scared you're gonna hide assets. She's just trying to protect herself. Then she should talk to her lawyer, not steal from me. Why don't we all just stay here until the divorce is over? The house is big enough for 3. I stared at him like he'd grown 2 heads. You think I'm going to share my home with my cheating wife and her side piece so you two can play pretend? When you say it like that, it sounds bad. It is bad, Derek. It's insane. You're being unreasonable. That's when I lost my composure a little. I'm being unreasonable? In my own house? With my own wife? While she sleeps with you? He actually looked offended. Bro, chill. It's not like that. Get off my property. Now. Or I'm calling the police again. He left. But I saw something in his eyes. He was cooking up another scheme. Update 3. And I was right. Last weekend, I drove out to visit my mom for her birthday. Quick 2-day trip, Friday to Sunday. I came back Sunday night to find the garage door open, the house reeking of weed, and beer bottles scattered across the living room. Derek's clothes were back in the guest room closet. The guy had moved back in while I was away. I was standing there, stunned, when Brianna strolled out of the bathroom in a towel. Oh, you're back early. It's 9 p.m. I said I'd be home Sunday evening. Derek just needed a place to crash over the weekend. His stuff is unpacked in the guest room. Derek casually walked out of the kitchen with a sandwich in his hand. Yo, hope you don't mind. We were starving. Then I noticed something else. Where's my TV? What TV? Brianna asked. The 65-inch Samsung that was mounted right there on the wall. She and Derek exchanged a glance. No idea what you're talking about. I checked the security footage. The indoor cams were unplugged. But the exterior cameras? Still rolling. I pulled up the video. Derek loading the TV into a pickup truck on Saturday morning. You two seriously think I'm stupid? I showed them the clip. Derek's face turned ghost white. Oh, that TV. I was just keeping it safe. From what? Burglars. Yeah, his friend's apartment isn't the best neighborhood, Brianna chimed in. They were just making stuff up now. Like I'd fall for that. I had to call the police again. And wouldn't you know it, the same officer showed up. By now, we were practically on a first-name basis. Evening, Mr. Wilson, he said, like we were old friends. What's going on this time? I pulled out my phone and showed him the footage of Derek hauling my TV into a truck. His excuse? He claimed he was keeping it safe. The officer just shook his head. That's not protection, that's theft. Where's the TV now? Derek made a sheepish call to his buddy, who reluctantly agreed to bring it back. It took nearly 3 hours. The friend was clearly annoyed. He had to drive across town on a Sunday night and made no effort to hide his frustration. While we waited, I started checking the rest of the house. That's when I realized the TV wasn't the only thing missing. My coffee machine, gone. Air fryer, missing. My good whiskey collection, vanished. Several tools from the garage were nowhere to be found either. These two had been slowly robbing me blind over the weekend. I turned to the officer. I need to report more stolen items. That's when Derek started to panic. Wait, maybe we can figure something out? Nope. We're way past that. By the end of the night, both Derek and Brianna were facing multiple counts of theft. And to top it off, Derek's friend refused to help return any of the other stolen stuff. I'm not getting dragged into your mess, he said flatly. That left Derek to make 4 humiliating trips back and forth to return everything. With each run, he looked more bitter and embarrassed. On his final trip, while carrying back my whiskey bottles, one slipped from his grip and shattered on the driveway. That was an $180 bottle, I said, pointing at the mess. Officer, you saw that, right? The cop gave a slow nod. Sure did. And just like that, another charge, this time for destruction of property. The smug look vanished from Derek's face. Final update. It's over, and justice showed up in full force. The charges stuck. To avoid jail, Derek pled guilty and was slapped with 18 months probation and ordered to pay $2,100 in restitution, including the broken whiskey bottle. But the surprises didn't stop there. Turns out, this wasn't his first time pulling a stunt like this. The friend who helped him return my TV got curious about how Derek had been affording all his new electronics. A few phone calls later, and more victims came forward. Apparently, this was his thing. Move in with someone temporarily, then gradually strip the place bare. Now he's facing additional charges from a previous host, and his probation was revoked the minute those new charges came in. Jail time is now officially on the table. As for Brianna, she tried to spin the narrative, claimed I was being abusive by not letting her boyfriend crash at my house. Her own family shut her down fast. Her father even called me. I didn't raise her to behave like this, he said. I'm sorry. The divorce finalized last week. No spousal support. Adultery still counts for something in our state. She walked away with her car, her wardrobe, and a small piece of our savings. That's it. She's now living alone in a studio apartment on the other side of town. Derek is sitting in county jail, awaiting his next court date. But here's the part that makes me smile. Remember how he was using my gym membership? He'd been strutting around, bragging about his upgraded lifestyle and new home. One of the trainers happened to know me. I shared the real story. Word spread fast. Now he's banned from the gym. Same thing happened at a couple local bars. Turns out, people don't like getting drinks with known thieves. I ran into Brianna at the grocery store a couple days ago. She looked worn down, like someone who bet everything on the wrong hand and lost it all. She opened her mouth to speak, but I just walked past her. There's nothing left to say. My house is calm again. The locks have been changed, the security system upgraded. I'm finally enjoying the quiet, and seriously considering getting a dog. My lawyer told me Derek might try to sue for emotional damages. I laughed. Let him try. Kind of hard to win a civil case from behind bars. Oh, and get this. Derek's friend, the one who helped move the TV? He messaged me on Facebook, apologized for getting involved, and warned me that Derek had been talking about getting even once he's out. I sent that message straight to his probation officer. Retaliation threats against witnesses? Big mistake. Derek's lawyer reached out, hoping we could settle and keep him out of more trouble. My reply? Maybe he should have thought about that before robbing me. Do I regret how any of this went down? Not for a second. They thought they could steal my house, my belongings, and my peace of mind, and that I'd just sit back and take it. Instead, one's facing jail, the other's alone and broke, and I'm thriving in my own home, surrounded by what's rightfully mine. Sometimes, karma doesn't even need help. It just takes its time. Edit for those asking. Yes, the house is still mine. Yes, I'm getting a dog. No, I don't feel an ounce of pity for either of them. Actions have consequences. They found out the hard way.